Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the biggest stars in the world and talking about some of the biggest tours too. David Gest, ironically named David Gest is not dead but alive with Soul Tour, is still going ahead after the death of the star earlier in the year. Stars include the Stylistics, Piebo Bryson, Rose Royce and Frida Payne, who will be appearing with Dina Carroll and Denise Williams. The tour starts on July 1st and ends in Nottingham on July the 13th. We've got an exclusive interview today with Imad Handi, David's best friend and producer of the tour, who joins us on the phone now. Imad, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry we're talking under these circumstances because I was a big fan of David. I thought he was incredibly witty and funny and played the game beautifully. It's a great shock, this, isn't it?
It was a very big shock, and we had so many plans for the future, and unfortunately, those plans are just going to be me by myself now and carrying them out.
Let's set up your friendship with him to begin. How did you meet?
Well, we met about 16 years ago by accident, yeah. And I think they always say most of the accidental friendships are most really the best ones. And we met out, we actually met in a nightclub, and I started working for David straight away. And the relationship just grew from there. It went from working with him to becoming best of friends.
David was a character and a personality. Was he different privately than he was on the telly? Because he was a tease, wasn't he? I did a couple of warm-ups where he was in the show and he would set up lines so he could get his gags out. He loved to toy with people like me, didn't he?
Oh, he loved it. He loved it. And he was like that in real life as well. The amount of times David would actually play gags on me, you know?
Right.
And especially when we were on tour. And he'll get me to do something which was basically does not exist.
Right.
You know? And like, you stupid little... but a lot of those jokes, you always say, Imad, if you laugh at my jokes, then I'm going to tell them to the people because they will laugh too.
Yes. And then, of course, we go back to January and Big Brother, which was where the death joke started, ironically, and then, of course, he passed away just a couple of months later. He didn't seem himself in January. When did you know that he wasn't well?
Well, he actually wasn't well before that, yeah. He was feeling a bit under the weather, and unfortunately, it just continued. And David was one person never to really go to the doctors and look after himself. So unfortunately, he was always on the go. He was a perfectionist, so everything had to be perfect. And his health was second to none, really. Like, he left that last.
Mm. Did you know prior to his death in that hotel room that he was seriously ill, or did you just think he was poorly?
I actually believed he was poorly, yeah. And David always screamed wolf. I'm ill. And unfortunately, I do remember saying to him, are you sick? Do you want me to come take you to the hospital? Do you want to take this? And he's like, no, I'm okay. So if someone's telling you they're okay, then there's nothing you can really say, really, can you?
No.
You know, and we're talking about David here.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing about him. I never really got to understand where the real David started and the fake David ended and began, because he was such a personality and such an enigma in a way. Was he a happy man?
He was a happy man. He had his moments in life where he just wanted to be understood. He just wanted to be accepted by the people. He just wanted to be normal. Yeah, but he felt that if he never lived this celebrity lifestyle, that people wouldn't accept him. And to be honest with you, that wasn't the real David. The real David was happy to have a bag of chips and bees on toast for dinner.
Mm. And of course there was all that speculation about his sexuality. Did that bother him? Because I know at the time when we talk about his ex-wife and stuff like that, it was relentless, the jokes in the newspaper. Did he ever get bothered by that?
He did. But at the same time, he never really let it get to him. If you're going to let stuff get to you, then it's only going to hurt you even more. You know? So he always knew they should just hold it back to one side and penny blow over,
Right.
they say.
And then, of course, he came to England and we fell in love with him. We love a character over here. He seemed to have an affinity with England more than America in recent years. And, of course, he was scattered here. He had his ashes scattered in the north, just outside, well, in Yorkshire, wasn't it? Why was England the place he loved the most and wanted to be laid to rest?
Because he became more famous in England. Yeah.
Simple as that.
Reason. Yeah, he just loved. He was shown so much love from the English people more than he was shown from the Americans, to be honest. And he just loved that, and that's what made him want to stay in England.
And I guess he was a one-off, wasn't he? I mean, he was the man that loved attention.
Yes, he certainly loved his attention. So, but like he knew that at the end of the day, like England was his home, and this is where he wanted to stay. He made so many new friends, and a lot of friends that he made in England were just normal people, right? Not like the celebrity A-listy, B-listy in America. If anything, he made more Z-lister friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in terms of his legacy, how successful was he? I mean, he died in a very lovely hotel. Was he a millionaire? Was he a billionaire? Was he successful?
He was very successful. He was a millionaire, yeah. He was successful. A lot of rumours came up after he died that he was broke, which were not true. Like, he left a lot of money to a lot of people in his will, yeah. He had assets rated to millions. His memorabilia collection was worth millions, you know, and he was a very successful person. And he was very successful from a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, working with Michael Jackson, it doesn't get any bigger than that. I guess for him, he never really recovered from that. That was a huge blow to him emotionally and personally when Michael died, wasn't it?
It was. And also when Whitney Houston died, he as well, he loved Michael. I remember when Michael died and he was actually in tears, you know, and we had this whole conversation, and when Houston died, he was in tears. These were his closest friends. And before he died, he was actually organising an auction for the Whitney Houston estate for some of her memorabilia.
Right.
The Houston family asked him to take control of it. So you can see how close they were and trusting with him.
It's a very crass question, but a lot of people have been asking, where has he left all his money and items to? Has this gone to family and friends? Who did he leave his stuff to?
It went to... David's one of these people where he's really, truly... He loved a lot of people, and he made sure that everybody he loved were taken care of in his will. Yeah, and a lot of people appreciated what they've got from him, from his will, and hopefully it'll just do good in society.
We saw people like Kerry Katona come out afterwards who claimed she was devastated. Was he really friends with people like that? Because it seemed like he must have had 29 hours in the day. He got a lot done, didn't he?
No, he had 36.
Incredible.
He had 20 hours in the day. But yeah, he had friends. David was good at making friends. People like Kerry Katona and Kim Marsh and people like Jimmy Harkness from Coronation Street and Dean Gaffney. These are all like his close friends.
Did he know, do you think? I'm wondering about David because he wasn't stupid and he knew how to play the media game. The fact that he named a tour David Gest Not Dead Tour and months later was dead, was this some joke you think he was playing? Did he know he wasn't well and in fact was seriously ill, do you think? Or was this just an unfortunate timing?
This was just an unfortunate timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was literally an unfortunate timing. We even said that he basically wrote his own death will. Like, he killed himself by saying that. And it's just one of those things that unfortunately it happened and it happened. So all we can do now is just move on and try and make things right.
And as for those last few days, there was much in the paper because they love to say that people are miserable and lonely and alone. Was he alone and was he depressed? Because that's one of the accusations.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Right.
Yeah, he wasn't alone. He was feeling sick, yes, but he wasn't alone, and he wasn't depressed. That's for sure. He had a lot to do. He had a lot of work to do, and he knew he had to do his work. You know?
And your last conversation with him, when did you last get to see him?
I saw him back in February because I've been busy with commitments as well with work. We speak on the phone every other day, and my last conversation with him was actually on the Thursday.
Right.
Actually, it was actually an argument over the phone. Yeah, because he didn't keep up to some of the commitments because he was sick, and that was it. That was my last conversation with him, unfortunately.
Did you leave it as an argument, or were you able to make up by the end of the conversation?
Our arguments are just normally, you haven't done this. Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Make sure you do this tomorrow, okay? And that's our argument.
He does seem like he's a man with many thoughts. He was a man with many thoughts in his head and was a little disorganized. That's fair. That's a fair accusation, isn't he? He was a man who was busy.
He was busy in life, and he always knew how to keep himself busy. And the busier he was, the more happy he was.
Yeah. And the medication stuff, we've seen it so many times. And of course, the irony with Michael Jackson and the similars, I suppose. Was that an issue that you were aware of, that he was on medication and needed tablets, or was it just a period that he was going through because he was ill?
It was just, no, the only medication he was on was he's diabetic. He had stage 2 diabetes. Yeah. And his blood pressure pills.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a great loss to show business, and I'm sorry, because he brought great life and fun to any program he was on. And I guess for you now, the legacy lives on through this tour, which will go ahead. David Gest is not dead, but alive with Soul Tour, which he did a similar show just back last summer. And again, it was a great success. Funnily enough, I was just talking to Bill Medley in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and it really did well, that tour, and bringing all these stars back. That was his passion, wasn't it? Keeping music alive.
Passion. And again, that was my production. I produced that tour.
Wow.
Yeah. So if people came out to see that tour and they enjoyed it, then by all means, that was actually my one. And hopefully, if you come out and see this one, you'll see just as good.
Well, I'm going to come and see this in Nottingham. What is great is that you're getting all these people together who, in my eyes, when I just saw, as I say, Bill Medley a few weeks ago, these guys are now in their 70s. For him, Time of My Life is the most played record on US radio in history. And when you get people like Dina Carroll and Denise Williams and Piebo Bryce and Rose Royce, Frida Payne, Band of Gold, that song, to hear those songs recreated live is such a thrill, and to get them all on one bill. How do you manage that? How do you get all those people to do it?
By being friends with them all.
Right. Trust.
Yeah. It's all trust, and by being friends. And between us, I was having a conversation with Denise Williams yesterday, and he said, listen, we're all doing this because we're all friends. We're actually like a family, yeah. So we just keep on going as a family, and we'll just keep entertaining people.
And will you do a tribute to David at the beginning or the end? How will you address that? Because it's sort of the elephant in the room, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole tribute is actually throughout the whole show.
Right.
Yeah, so it's how David would have wanted it, and everybody gets to say a few things about David. And the tribute itself is through the whole show. Yeah. As if David was there implementing himself, and it's just to show people, like you said, who was the real David,
right? Yeah,
behind the celebrity fiction, yeah. And we want to show people the real David, the man behind it all, yeah. Who was he? This is who he was.
And what a legacy! The people he knew and worked with. It's so rare to have that access, isn't it? The stories he must have been able to tell privately.
Oh, amazing. And I was honoured to actually live a lot of those stories in the last 16 years. And through him, I met a lot of my childhood celebrities that I've always wanted to meet in life. And in all honesty, I actually became friends with a lot of them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, it was actually a dream come true.
Yeah, he was an incredible man, and what a spirit. I would have loved to have been his PR in a way, to see him walk out those studios when he'd wound up people like me who took him seriously. That was the thing about David. You could never fully trust where he was going to be legitimate, because he loved to tease, didn't he?
Yes. He loved to let people know that his stories were real.
Yeah.
And he had his cousins.
Yes.
And he had his aunties and uncles, which I won't say their names.
Didn't he do one on Loose Women I remember seeing once, which made me roar?
Yes. The one thing with David, he always wanted to get that last punchline when he knew it was live.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And a lot of studios would refuse to have him on in case he said something.
It's a thin line, isn't it, between being funny and dangerous?
Yeah. I remember once they actually made him sign a disclaimer saying that you will not say anything online there.
Cowards. Listen, I'm so thrilled to talk to you, and I can't wait to see this tour. I'll see you in Nottingham. Let's just give some dates. Yeah, look forward to it. July the 1st, it opens at York Barbican Centre, then to Newcastle, Hull, Leicester, Preston, Warrington, Liverpool, Stockport, ending in Nottingham. July 13th at Nottingham Albert Hall. And this really is a bill of stars. Frida Payne, Rose Royce, Piebo Bryson, one of my favourites. The Stylistics, Denise Williams, and of course Dina Carroll, all performing. David Gest is not dead but alive with Soul Tour. Will you continue to do these, bringing these legends together for us? Because we love them. We thank you for it.
Definitely. Yeah, we're going to continue, and it's only going to get better.
Imad Handi, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry we're talking under these circumstances, and good luck with the tour.
I'll see you very soon in Nottingham.